Welcome to CBN4's Primetime News. I am your presenter, Sheena Harry. First up in the news, Dominica's hotel occupancy rates were a focus during a press conference held by the United Workers' Party. Rates, the party indicates, continue to languish at an average of between 25 and 50%. Here's Marilyn Isles with more.
Speaking at a press conference Thursday, United Workers' Party Shadow Tourism Minister and Roseau Central MP Joseph Isaac highlighted a number of areas within the tourism sector which he says have failed due to mismanagement by the Dominica Labour Party administration.
In regards to the state of tourism, I must say that we are still averaging hotel occupancy rates of between 25 to 50%. After investment of hundreds of millions of dollars in the Menville Hall Airport and investments of over 8 million in Liat, today we see only 2 flights per day at the airport. We also see a halt in night landing. We see a decline in cruise arrival with a policy statement from the government indicating that the decision will be to focus on the engagement of fewer cruise ships rather than engaging a larger number. To me, that doesn't make any logical sense. You would rather try to focus on a larger number of cruise ships and at the same time you will get your numbers. Also, we see a failure to increase the marketing budget for tourism promotion overseas. We see an unreasoned cancellation of the World Creole Music Festival. And we see also the same approach of the Lyle River Hotel project. We see it reflecting itself in the Kinspi Hotel.
According to Isaac, there is a macroeconomic risk of a potential drop in revenue attributed to the drop in cruise tourist arrivals and stayovers. He noted that Dominica's tourism also faces a real risk from the presence of the Zika virus on island, which has the potential to further impact the tourism economy. While the Shadow Tourism Minister outlined a number of solutions which he says would go some way toward remedying the situation, he called on the government to set up a War on Zika tripartite task force to steer Dominica in the right direction.
That task force would steer Dominica in the right direction in regards to an aggressive approach to eliminating Zika virus in Dominica and at the same time protecting our tourism product. A second solution, we should implement solution to immediately revamp the tourism sector. Example, an emergency fund for the promotion of the sector. Direct support to existing hotels for product and facilities improvement. Develop an innovative financing arrangement for existing hotels through the Aid Bank or the NBD, in which, for example, existing hotels which are struggling can do some innovative financing that would put them in a better position. And specific to that, the Aid Bank could get or take equity on behalf of Dominicans in those existing hotels. Specifically, I want to talk about the Galway Hotel, which have been struggling for many years. And also in recent time, we see young entrepreneurs, not in age, but in terms of effort, like Honorable Senator Baptiste has this farm cottage in Cassie Bruce. So these are some of the examples. Also, we should establish a project management and implementation committee for the implementation of the project to ensure that we have an international airport within the next 5 to 10 years. But at the same time, the mandate of this steering committee will also be to look at the short-term access of tourists into Dominica and what measures can be taken, whether policy action, whether financing, what exactly can happen, because we are still failing in that area. So,
I am Marilyn Isles reporting for CBN News.
Next up in the news, the 7th annual Jazz and Creole Fest can boast the addition of its newest partners. At the weekly press conference, marketing executive of Discover Dominica Authority, Daphne Vidal, announced that Courts Dominica Limited, Rainbow Rentals, and Le Pelican newspaper out of St. Martin have come on board, but there is always room for more.
Those who are still interested in partnering with us for Jazz and Creole are welcome to contact us for further discussion on partnership.
According to Vidal, ticket holders can look forward to a special promotion next week. The 3 new additions will join Gold Partner Digicel along with 11 others in the private sector to help create a memorable event. Also making our headlines on Sunday, His Eminence Kelvin Edward Cardinal Felix will celebrate his 60th anniversary of priestly ordination with a mass at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. And during those 60 years, he served at different levels in the Catholic Church and has contributed significantly to the development of Dominica and the region. Cardinal Felix was born on February 15th of 1933 in Roseau, Dominica, was the 6th of 9 children. The Cardinal's primary education was at the Roseau Boys' School, followed by secondary education at the Dominica Grammar School. Cardinal Felix proceeded to study for the priesthood at the Regional Seminary of St. John Vianney in Trinidad and was ordained as a priest on April 8th, 1956, right here in Dominica. And he was the first diocesan priest and the first priest to be ordained in Dominica. Dignitaries both in Dominica and abroad, as well as the Catholic community, will turn out in large numbers to celebrate this momentous occasion with Cardinal Felix. Leader of the opposition, Lennox Linton, is standing behind a decision to not nominate a candidate for the Integrity in Public Office Commission. Linton said the opposition wants the Roosevelt Skerritt-led administration to return to Parliament to deal with the Integrity in Public Office legislation. The act was amended in December, where the number of commissioners was reduced from 7 to 3.
Just to say that we opposed the amendments to the IPO on principle in the Parliament in December of 2015, and we thought that rather than make the legislation better, more effective for the work that it was intended to do, the government actually reduced the effectiveness of the legislation, made it worse, in the interest of persons in the government, Mr. Skerritt, for example. And so we wrote to the Prime Minister, I did, in my capacity as head of the parliamentary opposition, outlining specific areas that we think needs to be addressed in the legislation before we move forward with it. That letter was sent to the Prime Minister in February. We're now in April. There's not been an acknowledgement or a response to the letter. We have decided in the circumstances we will not be nominating anybody to sit on the 3-member commission.
To date, the panel has been commissioned with 2 persons, which Linton believes is illegal.
All we have asked him to do is, in the public interest, go back to the Parliament, revisit the legislation, let us make it better as opposed to make it worse, and then we'll move along. Instead, he has taken the position that we should, in the parliamentary opposition, join him in the corruption of the process, in facilitating corruption using the Integrity in Public Office Act. And we are in no way, shape or form interested in that sort of behavior. We'll not be involved in that. And so unless the legislation is fixed along the lines that we are suggesting, we'll not be nominating anybody to sit on the commission.
Young minds are being exposed to what it would be like to pursue careers in various fields as they make career decisions. Here's Shanna Esprit with more.
The Dominica Public Library, in collaboration with the Information Service Unit, hosted its first Career Day with a Difference at the Public Library ground earlier today. Librarian Renita Charles informed that the concept of Career Day came about because a number of students are still unsure of their career choices even when they are applying to universities.
Yes, we hosting a Career Day with a difference. So we're venturing into like weird fields of study that we want students to take the opportunity, to grasp the opportunity. So we want to give them details as to the subject areas that they should follow so that they'll be able to find that best fit and find careers, not general career fields, but go deeper into fields. Like if you want to do accounting, just stick as an accountant. It has forensic accounting, and this morning we had Mr. George from the intelligence unit, and he spoke about forensic accounting and about the legal aspect of it, and as we know, computer technology is a must. So you see various fields for people that want to do information technology.
Charles noted the importance of introducing students to various fields of work and the courses that would assist them in choosing their careers. According to Charles, the students were very interactive throughout the activity, and she hopes that the initiative will assist them to make better career choices. The afternoon session of Career Day with a Difference was done via video conferencing, presentation to students on disease control.
And we also have Dr. George LMG from the U.S. Embassy. He'll be doing a video conferencing presentation to students on disease control. So he works in the Science and Laboratory Center at the U.S. Embassy. And then at 1:30 we have Trudy Christian. She'll be talking to the students in various fields in food and nutrition, in environmental health and so forth. And whole day we had the information technology unit, so they will continue into the afternoon session.
Students from the Dominica State College, Goodwill Primary and Social Center, as well as a number of other schools, participated in the function. Meantime, one of the guest speakers for the afternoon session of Career Day with a Difference, Oren Challenger, said it is important for students to be able to choose their career paths at an early age. Challenger said he knew he wanted to be a pilot from a very tender age.
Also in the news, for the 9th year, the National Bank of Dominica has partnered with UWI Open Campus to bring the National Distinguished Lecture. Since 2008, the partnership has brought speakers such as Dr. Matthew Wilson, Mr. Danny Roberts, and Professor Carl Theodore and other scholars to share their research with members of the public. And these scholars encourage society's engagement in significant conversation since members of the audience get to interact with the researchers. NBD representative Susan Piper says that this collaboration is all part of the bank's social responsibility.
And this is one of the initiatives in NBD's Corporate Social Responsibility Program to assist in the development of education on island as a way to contribute to our overall development.
Piper stressed the bank's stance that Dominica's economic development is highly dependent on the development of its citizens.
And this is one NBD, as an indigenous financial institution founded to assist in the development of Dominica, understands that building our human resource capacity is an important part of the equation for economic development, and we are committed to doing so as much as we can in that area.
The bank has provided assistance on the primary, secondary, and tertiary levels of education, and Piper stated that they are pleased to collaborate with UWI on the lecture and other ventures to continue to carve out our space in the global market. Also in the news, in an effort to improve literacy and education here in Dominica, the Western Union Foundation, in collaboration with HHB Whitchurch and Company and Hands Across the Sea today, announced that it has teamed up to rejuvenate the school libraries of Jones-Beaupierre Primary School and the Wesley Primary School in Dominica. Manager of Western Union Money Transfer, Kira Thompson-Aird, stated that Whitchurch is passionate about working with schools to improve education opportunities, especially those who show great interest in engaging their students through on-site programs such as the library.
Well, under Whitchurch, as agent representative for Western Union Money Transfer, we have collaborated in the past with a group called Hands Across the Sea. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. But it's Tom and Harriet Linsky, and it's a couple that initially started sailing through the Caribbean and started to pick up on the non-touristic side of things, where there were discrepancies in education, literacy levels. Harriet comes from a background of education and Tom from marketing. So they both saw an opportunity to leverage what they know and the accessibility they have to different entities to receive better school books, and then they approach persons within the private sector to come on board to assist them in that program. So through Western Union Foundation, we did it's called an agent match grant. So basically it's a gift fund that Western Union has through the Western Union Foundation. So every dollar that we put in, the foundation, will match with $1 US of.
Aird informed that the initiative began in 2014-2015 when they rejuvenated the libraries of the Castlebrew Secondary School and the Roseau Primary School, as well as St. John's Academy.
For this academic year, 2015 into 16, we chose Wesley Primary School, and I went up there to do a presentation to them, very, very small in-house, you know, and I'm really glad that we chose that school.
Why did you choose Wesley Primary?
Because it's an area that tends to get forgotten. It's a catchment area for almost, for a lot of the area of northeast Dominica. And what you tend to find is you have children who have special needs, which I'm very passionate about, and we tend to forget them, and they get forced through main education system. So whilst integration is good, sometimes they can get lost in the process, and the library seems to pull them in because it's a quiet area, and they've really made it very child-friendly. And when you look at the before and the after pictures, we posted them on the Whitchurch Facebook page so people can have an understanding of what was and what this donation can achieve, to try and encourage other people to try and do the same thing as well. And we also chose Jones-Beaupierre.
The donations made to the two schools facilitated the refurbishment of the libraries in making it more child-friendly, and a number of books purchased through Hands Across the Sea also presented. Aird added that she is very impressed with the transformation of all the libraries so far.
This year was Wesley Primary School, and they have a young gentleman from the US Peace Corps who's working in the library up there, and he's done a great job making it to the point where children actually come in to volunteer in the library when you think they didn't want to even step into the library before. Castlebrew is another one of my star stories because it was a cow pen, and they had really old, outdated books that I think my father might have used in school. Yeah. Non-colorful, just text, you know, very bleak. And they changed it up into a very, like I said, it's on the Whitchurch Facebook page. People can go and have a look. So you can really see what it looks like now and understand what the difference is and why it's important for us to do this for the children.
The Western Union Foundation and Hands Across the Sea, which seeks to create bright futures for the youth by arming them with the greatest tool available, which is the power to use and understand the written word. Since 2008, Hands Across the Sea has sent over 51,000 reading books to 83 preschools, primary schools, secondary schools, and community reading programs here in Dominica. And speaking at a recent UWP press conference, the Roseau Central MP and Shadow Minister for Tourism, Joseph Isaac, says the party is strongly recommending a phased approach to the much-needed rehabilitation and enhancement of the city of Roseau. And Isaac says this phased or street-by-street approach would assist with the financial limitations that the country faces and its ability to fund a full-on rehabilitation project. He says Roseau remains Dominica's tourism gateway, and this kind of enhancement would put Dominica on a platform that strengthens its tourism product.
as I said, street by street, include the resurfacing of streets, drains, or the revamping or reconstruction of drains and sidewalk. As I said, we understand that we have Dominica's limitation in regards to financing, and we understand the challenge. So we are saying let's do it street by street, phase by phase. And in that same vein, in regards to the city, we are also asking for a proper system of garbage collection, which would incorporate into the same street by street improvement of Roseau, and to ensure that we have proper traffic flow. Because I see recently that the police went on its own without the appropriate expertise of, let's say, a physical planner, an industrial engineer, people who are involved in something we call in technical terms queuing theory, that would ensure that the number of traffic coming in, we should have a survey to know what is the capacity of Roseau to be able to take in X amount of traffic. In that, now we are also talking about adequate parking. And that whole approach for the city would put Dominica on a real platform for the tourism product, because that's the first thing tourists see when they enter Dominica, most times. It's either they come straight from Melville Hall and then come down, and then they come to Roseau to go to every aspect of Dominica. They always come to Roseau.
And that was the MP for Roseau Central, Joseph Isaac. CBN4 has learned of a two-vehicle accident that occurred near the Massac Canefield Primary School. A two-vehicle collision impeded traffic temporarily when a motorcycle and an SUV hit head-on. Reports indicate that the rider of the motorcycle was injured and taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital for medical attention. He has been identified unofficially as Stuart Lamar of Maho. His condition is unknown and no further details are available at this time. But of course, CBN4 will keep you posted. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force has released new information about the death of a young man in Silverlake. In a release, Police Public Relations Officer Acting Inspector Pelham John Baptist stated that the victim has been identified as 17-year-old Freddie Claudie Vandal. Vandal is said to be a native of Guadeloupe but of Dominican descent. According to John Baptist, the police responded to reports of gunshots being fired in the community and upon arrival found the lifeless body of Vandal near the river in that area. John Baptist reported that Vandal had suffered many severe lacerations and what appeared to be a gunshot wound. A coroner's inquest will be convened. One man is in custody in relation to the matter, but anyone with information which can assist the police in their investigations can contact the Criminal Investigations Department or contact Crime Stoppers Dominica at 1-800-8477. 2 for 1 day for tourism stakeholders, media, and interested persons gathered at the Fort Young Hotel Conference Room for the official launch of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association's 2 annual flagship events, HikeFest Origins 2016 and the National Tourism Trade Show and Cocktail. Forming part of the Tourism Awareness Month activities, during the month of May, visitors and residents alike are being urged to come enjoy the engaging lineup of the NTTC and to register early for HikeFest Origins 2016. DHTA Executive Vice President Stephanie Astefan told the press briefing on Friday that as Dominica's leading travel trade show, the NTTC, which is scheduled for April 30th at the Cabrits National Park, promises to be very informative for all tourism stakeholders. And she says the patrons will benefit from the assembly of top speakers from a variety of tourism industry segments, which includes a keynote address on air access by the Air Antilles CEO and President, as well as live music, food, and drink.
Travel Trade Show, carried for Saturday, April 30th from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the foothills of Fort Shirley, Cabrits National Park. NTTC sees participation of all major local suppliers of products and services geared towards improving tourism operations and also attracts influential OTA brands and tour operators serving destination Dominica. NTTC also assembles top speakers and a variety of industry segments for a series of peer-to-peer sessions on air access, technology, and investment. And of course, the cocktail features live music and food and wine, rum and beer by Dominica's top chefs and sommeliers. A highlight of NTTC 2016 will be the keynote address from Air Antilles CEO and President Serge Tigalnitsky, who will define opportunities for aligning airlift objectives to drive visitor arrivals to Dominica. The Air Access keynote will kick off the day at 2 p.m. at the Fort Shirley Officers' Quarters and will be followed by peer-to-peer seminars on technology and investment led by Expedia and Secret Bay Residencies.
Astefan stated that with the 4 Saturdays of Hike Fest throughout the month of May, hikers will have the opportunity to trace the footsteps of our ancestors with Hike Fest origins as they traverse 4 of Dominica's most iconic hiking trails, accompanied by knowledgeable, certified guides and health and safety experts.
Hike Fest centers around one of Dominica's feature tourism attractions, hiking, and caters to both visiting and local enthusiasts and novices alike. This year, each hike is rooted in the original people and early settlers of the island, the Kalinago, European, African, and Creole, theme inspired by Hysteria Mass. On May 7th, we'll hike from Casa Bruce to the KBA, winding along the ruggedly beautiful Atlantic coast and ending with the Kalinago, the island's indigenous people who fiercely defended Waitukubuli from would-be colonizers. On May 14th, we're taking on segment 14, Capuchin to Cabritz, home to Fort Shirley and a viewpoint of the Battle of the Saints of 1782, where European powers clashed over colonization of the island. This hike will feature a special Kiddies Day component. While the adults hike, children ages 7 to 12 will be engaged with structured learning and physical activities led by Cabrit's management team, DHTA member parents, and the Dominica State College aides. On May 21st, Jacko Steps, carved into the mountain by Maroons in the 1760s and named after legendary Maroon leader and revolutionary Jacko. And on May 28th, Soufriere Estate to Geneva Estate.
That was Stephanie Astefan speaking on the NTTC and Hike Fest Origins 2016. And finally in the news, projections are out about the 2016 hurricane season. Shanna Esprit has the details on what we can expect.
12 named storms have been predicted for this year's hurricane season. The team of scientists who provide a prediction each year are Dr. William Gray and Dr. Philip Klotzbach have predicted an average 2016 Atlantic hurricane season. According to the scientists, the current weakening of El Niño is likely to transition to either neutral or La Niña conditions by the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. Residents are reminded that it only takes one hurricane making landfall to make it an active season for them, and they need to prepare regardless of the predictions. The government of Dominica is calling on all Dominicans to begin preparedness activities immediately, while government will do all in its power to mitigate the effects or impacts of any storm or hurricane. I am Shanna Esprit reporting for CBN4 News.
And that takes us to the end of the Primetime News package. Of course, if you've missed any of our news stories, you can catch up on cbn4.com or visit our Facebook page. And if you'd like us to cover a specific story, send us an email to cbn4news@gmail.com. And that'll do it for this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Sheena Harry.